Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Just a quick update, intraday update, short-term update. We haven't really seen any higher high. We haven't seen any lower low. There is some intraday volatility, but not too much going on. However, I'd like to show you in this scenario the roadmap that I would follow should the price break and sustain below yesterday's low. So we're currently still holding above this trend line that we talked about in recent weeks of our larger time frame range. It was looking quite good earlier today with a possible recovery, but the price has fallen back to yesterday's low. Now we haven't made a lower low yet, so I mean, maybe it's a bit too early to show this to you, but I always try to prepare you for things because I know should we break below yesterday's low, people will ask what are the next levels to watch. So just note that should we break above the Tuesday high, so should we form another high, I will go back to the previous scenario that we talked about, that this third wave is still unfolding, possibly targeting 75 to 78K next. But that's something that I have taken off the chart for now because we are, this pullback it's not great. It doesn't really look as if we're already in an upside breakout. So I just want to prepare you for a possible break of this trend line. If it happens, what are the next levels to watch? Let's talk about that first. And then afterwards, let's talk about the bullish continuation pattern, which however needs to prove itself, especially after that rejection that we've seen. Because bear in mind, the pullback was already quite deep, right? We talked about that in the previous video for upside continuation, but still valid. And then we only saw, however, a three-wave rally. That's not great and quite a sharp pullback. So it doesn't really support the idea that we are still in the third wave or that we are still in the blue wave one. Yeah. So therefore, I am already tracking the next move down here, at least based on the idea that a C wave down could have started. So if this is the case, and if this was the top of white wave 3, I'm talking about the Tuesday high, or blue wave 1, then we are now either in the white wave 4 or the blue wave 2. The blue wave 2 support area is already known to you. You know that one if you followed previous updates. It's located between 53,678 and 62,850. And it will have to change if the price makes another high, because then we are dealing with an extension in wave 1 before the wave 2 then starts a little later. In the green scenario, not green, what am I talking about? In the white scenario, we could already be in the fourth wave, right? That is the idea that a wave, so it's a different wave count, that we had a 1-2 setup here in the white scenario, where a wave 2 bottomed around the 6th of September. The third wave has reached target. It doesn't look quite complete. Therefore, I don't want to dismiss the idea that we could get another high, but I felt it's still time to prepare you for a possible break of support because the market is clearly struggling up here. Should we go down lower, then obviously the fourth wave is likely already unfolding. The third wave top there, as I just showed you, in the white scenario already anyway. Yeah. So there are two bullish scenarios. One in which we are in a wave 4 pullback and could rally in a wave 5 afterwards to form a higher high. And one where we are in a wave 2 pullback and could rally in a third wave afterwards. And the support areas are different. So for the wave 2, the really the key level is at 53,678. And for the white count, the key level is 59,783. So we will have to monitor this closely as we're heading into these support areas to then determine where do we see a reaction and where are the key pivots. The very first micro support, which is based on Fibonacci extensions, is located between 64,278 and 66,992. It's based on the length of the initial A wave down projected out for the C wave. That would be an ideal target for this C wave. And this is the area where I'm going to watch at least for a bounce in the B wave. But this is now the short-term bearish scenario, but both are still part of the bullish scenarios that we've been tracking. So I would say let's go to the daily chart because obviously this hasn't changed at all. But what I wanted to share with you is this is a bullish scenario, actually both of them, right? So in the white count, we're tracking this wave 4 pullback and then a wave 5 to the upside to form a larger degree wave 1. In the blue count, we are already in the wave 2. Now, okay, it shouldn't break below support, so I'm talking about like this and then higher, right? It's just that for the blue scenario, the support area is a little bit lower. The 78.6 fib level is relevant here for the blue scenario, leaving ultimately a little bit more space. So that's also how we can distinguish between the white and the blue scenarios, because the white count shouldn't really break below 59,783. Now I talked about the direct bullish wave count. So what we just talked about is bullish but short-term bearish in case yesterday's low breaks, yeah, because the market is showing a bit of a pullback there. But obviously the low hasn't broken yet. So what happens if we go higher? Well, it's quite simple. The next upside level to watch is at 78K. It's at least the larger degree Fibonacci level. And that would be the 78K level that's relevant. Yeah, I mean, in the very short term, talked about it earlier today, there were some short-term upside targets, but so we can bring them onto the chart should we see a break above the recent high. But yeah, for now, I would then pay attention to the 78K level, because that's the next major upside Fibonacci extension level to watch, the 161.8 fib extension, after the price already reached the 138% extension. So to keep it very simple, if we break below yesterday's low, it becomes more likely that we are already in the wave 4 or the wave 2. In the wave 4 or the wave 2, yeah, with support areas already outlined. However, I would need to see a break below yesterday's low, of course. In this video, I just wanted to take the opportunity to prepare you for these pullbacks should they arise. Until then, there is still a chance for direct upside continuation, in which case 78K would be the next upside level to watch in an extension of wave 1 or wave 3. Have to say though that the micro count does look quite choppy. Even if we push higher, please note that this B wave could simply extend. So we are starting to range again, yeah, because we have a 3-wave pullback and a 3-wave rally that can always turn into a larger 3-wave rally. So we might see a bit of a range bound movement here as we're holding above the trend line but below the Tuesday high. Overall, as you can see, the 1-hour chart isn't really affected much. It's just, you know, hasn't broken yesterday's low. We haven't made a higher high. So again, we're ranging, but there is some intraday volatility, which, you know, and the rejection doesn't really show short-term strength. So I wanted to prepare you for those deeper pullbacks should they happen. So you have some levels to watch, and then the larger time frame, of course, not affected at all. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.